This is Taking Stock. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Andrew Smith is one of the co-founders of Yuppiechef.com, South African startup from 2006, in the olden days of the internet. Nowadays, of course, lots more people do buy online, but increasingly we're seeing retailers opt for multiple channels to move their product. We are in a Yuppiechef store. There are 7 of these stores in South Africa right now, and in an economy that is barely growing, it's a business that is bizarrely in a retail space with low business and consumer confidence that is expanding. The courage to expand when everybody else is cutting down. Banks are cutting down, big retailers, Edcon is hacking back on space, Sutherford's is gone, so much of South African retail is dying, yet you're expanding. Have you missed the memo on the economy?
Well, I think that is one of our opportunities at the moment, where some of the retailers who've taken a lot of space in malls are now trying to cut back. And, there are a lot of malls in South Africa who now are trying to differentiate. And so having something new and fresh like a Yuppiechef store is an advantage. It's a reason to come to this mall rather than the one 3 kilometers down the road. So it is an opportunity for us. But I think at the moment our expansion is still to the relatively obvious parts of the market. I think when you have 150 stores around the country, the opportunities to expand are quite limited. But we're still in that relatively early retail phase.
Are you finding landlords accommodative?
Well, I think they're definitely very keen to have us. I think we are the new and shiny thing. I think, though, there's sometimes a tricky relationship that develops between the little guy and the big guy. And we're definitely the little guy, and we don't know how to negotiate. And I think the landlords can kind of sense the blood in the water.
They see you coming, yes.
Yeah, but the other interesting dynamic is that I don't think they necessarily know how to deal with something like turnover rent when it relates to click and collect. So if someone orders online and collects it in the store, should we be paying turnover rent for that? So we're having interesting negotiations and discussions with the landlords, really trying to grapple with what does the next phase of retail look like. If we sold nothing in the store and only let people order here and deliver it, is that good for the mall or was it not good? How does that look like in the next phase of retail?
And I mean, the sort of spaces that you're moving into, somebody was telling me the other day that in Somerset Mall, where you're moving into, in a very wealthy part of the country, some of the shops are closing down. I think there's an ABSA branch that you're moving into part of.
Yeah.
And as banks trim down, and we've seen the big cutbacks that Standard Bank has done in the last while, as banks cut back, again, there are these cavernous spaces which need to be filled.
Yeah.
Do you go in there and say, well, you're not going to have the space rented for 6 months.
Yeah.
You want 500 rand a square meter, I'll give you 450. Or, how does that work?
Yeah, so there are opportunities. We are moving into the ABSA, and I think that shows how customers want something different from a retail mall anymore. What we used to go to the mall to do, like do our banking, has now changed. It needs to be more experiential, something interesting, a reason to come here. And you'll see malls and stores within the malls that are trying to offer something different, and perhaps we offer a little bit of something different. And that does give us an element of negotiation power, but this needs to be a long-term relationship. We would like to be in the centers we are for the next 5 or 10 or 20 years, and it's not really about either party getting a leg up on the other. It's about trying to work in it together.
How do you grow a luxury business in a dead economy?
Yeah.
I mean, dead is an extreme, but I mean, we're growing at less than 1% a year and have been for years and are likely to persist on that sort of track for years to come.
Yeah. Well, part of it, I think, is trying to identify trends. And this is going to be a bit post-rationalized. We were lucky in getting into this category. But in any economy that's growing at 1%, you've got parts of it that are growing at 20% and parts that are shrinking at 20%. And, the food and the cooking at home is a wave that we've ridden for the last 13 years since we launched. Since Jamie Oliver was coming on TV saying, anyone, even you, Bruce, can cook at home. Well, now I need the right tools.
He taught me everything I know.
You're going to need the tools to do that. So perhaps we've taken away perhaps some of the eating out budget, that where money was going there, it's now going to, well, I can't afford that, but I can afford to make a meal for me and my friends. So I think in an economy that's stagnant, it is about finding which parts of it are growing and trying to jump into those.
Can you tell how much growth there is in this segment of the market? I mean, some of the big retailers have got their own kitchen stores. You are competing like for like in the same sorts of malls, different brands, differentiated spaces, different vibe, different feel, but you're going head to head with the gorillas.
Yeah. So, I mean, a strategy is really about trying not to compete head to head. It is about trying to find something that's uniquely different for us. So one of our first unique differentiators, we really did sell brands. We celebrated brands that everyone knew, Le Creuset and and Eva Solo and KitchenAid, and these brands that people see, and they were willing to trust buying online, where a lot of retailers had gone very much own brand. We went the other way. So in that sense, we were trying to give customers something they didn't have. And so we're going to have the similar thing here. How do we exist in the malls that we're in with other people around us? We need to find something different.
And so many of these brands, of course, have then gone and opened their own outlets.
Yeah.
Le Creuset, for example, is in posh malls everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe you created the market for them.
Well, I think we helped each other in that particular example. But yes, the market's always going to be shifting, and we need to figure out the things that make us different. And so we also focus on things like gifting, which I think is a uniquely Yuppiechef thing to do. To send a gift from Yuppiechef is perhaps different to sending it from a different brand. Having a wedding registry with us, which other retailers don't do or perhaps don't do very well. So there will be parts of the kitchen market that we can latch onto as being, this is what we specialize in.
The brand, Yuppiechef. I mean, there are a bunch of millennials today who don't know what a yuppie is.
Yeah.
You are of a generation that would have aspired to be the yuppie. Does the brand count against you at all? I mean, because people go, why? I understand chef. I don't understand yuppie.
Yeah,
yuppie is 1990s, early 2000s.
So, yeah, I mean, yuppie, I think perhaps was even a derogatory word and then an unused word, and we kind of took it back into fashion. But the key thing about Yuppiechef is that we're not chefs and we're not selling to chefs. So to call someone a Yuppiechef is almost a bit of tongue-in-cheek saying, we know you can't really cook. Well, we know you're just an enthusiast, and so we're not selling to professionals. But if all you can make is a tomato sandwich, at least cut it with a nice knife and serve it on a nice plate, and be proud of what you're doing and enjoy what you're doing. So I think in that sense, the word yuppie is not a negative thing for us.
Andrew Smith is the founder, one of the founders of Yuppiechef. The backstory of Yuppiechef in a moment.